What's going on, guys? It is MurderInc here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we have a really cool one. We have one of the very rare occasions where this video is going to apply to early game members all the way up to late and end game players. Now, this is going to be a topic that I don't see covered. I don't want to say enough, I want to say at all. And it's pretty much to let you guys know you should stop 6-starring every single champion because they have a use in your current roster. Now, this is something that some players may realize, and we're going to get into the nuances and why it's really good for end game as well as early game. Early game is definitely going to have the biggest impact, but obviously 6-starring a champion takes a lot of resources, so you're going to save a lot regardless after watching this video. So what everything's really going to come down to is, why do you 6-star a champion in the first place? It's to get the banner slot once he's fully ascended, it's to get the final tier of the masteries, so on and so forth. However, what can you actually do, and what type of champions don't need that to actually be a benefit to your team? So the answer to that question is going to be a lot easier for progression players than it's going to be for endgame. So we're going to kind of start in the middle here, and pretty much champions that offer a revive, they don't require accuracy, and offer buffs to your team. Those are the perfect champions that you never need to 6-star to get done what you're trying to accomplish in this game. Once you get to more endgame champions, pretty much any champion in a speed team that isn't going to take any damage, which surprisingly is a significant amount of champions, most commonly someone like a renegade or a Kymar, so on and so forth. Those champions aren't going to add much besides of the utility they do provide for you, so there's no reason to actually have them as 6-star. Now there's going to be a lot of things you have to consider while I'm saying this, because this is going to be a sensitive topic if you take this the wrong way. So definitely make sure you're fully grasping what I'm trying to say here so you don't make any mistakes and you don't end up hurting your account more than helping it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find some champions that are perfect examples of champions where you don't have to worry about 6-starring them at all. First champion is going to be our friend Mausoleum Mage. Awesome champion. He's pretty much based on heal, removing debuffs, applying awesome buffs, and he does have the occasion where he can apply an ability based on his accuracy. However, it's not make or break for this champion, and this isn't someone that you would stack accuracy on just for this if you can get away with a 5-star champion fully ascended. So this is going to be the main point. I'm actually going to build a champion for you live of someone I've never tested before with the 5-star to help you gauge how you can actually do this and apply it to all of your accounts. Now, one thing that's very important that you definitely have to look at is, if you have a 5-star champion, he's ascended, he's level 50, make sure you look at their base stats and take a look at their speed. Some champions are, I don't want to say strange, but it's kind of strange the way Plarium did this. Some champions don't reach their max speed for base speed potential until they are 6-star. Now, I don't have a list of those champions handy, so it's something you're going to have to look out for as you're playing and on a champion by champion basis to help really figure out if this is the right move for you. Another champion inside this same faction is also going to be Gogorob. He's someone that you can definitely get away with not 6-starring, keeping him at 5-star and allowing you to kind of progress fully to your potential here. Now, the one place worth talking about that is going to be questionable is going to be Arena. Now, in theory, you can apply this to Arena champions, however, I highly recommend you don't do that. So obviously, if you have a fast speed champion, you're going to go first. You can definitely get away with having a debuff champion. Granted, they can hit whatever accuracy threshold they need, or wherever you are in the arena. You don't have to 6-star that champion because you're going to go first, you're going to kill the enemy team, or you're going to lose. Those are kind of the two options there. So I would recommend staying away from arena unless you really want to min-max your resources and you are in fact confident after testing them already at level 50 that you can keep up on that same path for your offense team. For defense team, once again, unless you're faster, there's no reason to not 6-star a champion. Now, the other place where it's very hard to determine whether or not you should 6-star a champion is going to be a clan boss. This is something a lot of people overlook in the sense where when you're fighting a clan boss, especially once you hit whatever top difficulty you're currently on, whether it's Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, there's no reason to kind of go above and beyond your key threshold unless you're really looking for that. For example, there's actually no reason right now in the game for you to be able to 1-key Ultra Nightmare. There's nothing wrong with 2-keying Ultra Nightmare, 1-keying Nightmare, and then 1-keying Brutal with your 4 daily free keys. So if you can confidently hit something like a 2-key with an unkillable team, you can actually elect to not 6-star one of your champions. And since most people who are endgame, they have enough damage to actually complete this without masteries on someone like a Maneater or a Painkeeper, so you can save those resources, put them to better use on someone else, give up the mastery damage you would be getting, and still be able to hit that 2-key threshold based on the clan boss team you're running. Now, if you're not running unkillable, there is zero reason to ever run a 5-star champion if you are serious about the team you have in front of you. The additional base stats, the fact that you get War Master, all of these things are crucial to a non-unkillable team for sure, and some of them do actually apply to unkillable if your gear isn't the greatest, so this is kind of a trade-off you're going to have to determine while going down the line. Do I stick with the 5-star, just improve my gear until I can hit the threshold with this 5-star champion, or do I simply 6-star him right now, get those increased rewards earlier than I would have, and just say it was a worthy investment based on the amount of time I got those end chests by having this champion at 6-star. Now, outside of Arena and Clan Boss, every single other aspect of the game is doable with 5-star champions. There can be an exception to be made for Doom Tower if you are on the hard end stage difficulties. However, there are still teams that can utilize someone like a Mausoleum Mage at 5-star in a Seer team, since the only point of the Mausoleum Mage isn't to survive anything, it's to make sure Seer's one-shotting, having the cooldowns get reset by someone like a Kaimar or a Renegade, and then repeating until you hit the final wave and then you one-shot them again. So even in the endgame content of Doom Tower, you can still get away with 5-star champions. The bosses can definitely be a separate story. You guys can give me your feedback in the comment. Are there any bosses that stand out to you as the player that you can get away with at the end levels of hard only? I'm not talking about easy or the early stages of hard, because I think it's definitely doable with the right gear to have 5-star champions, but the end bosses of hard, is it possible with 5-star champions? Have you guys tried it? Definitely let me know. So now what we're going to do is you guys are going to get the 2-for-1 special. Old Hermit Jorg, a champion I haven't covered yet, haven't done a spotlight on. We are going to gear him with brand new gear outside of the ring in the neck that I already placed on him. He is 5-star ascended. He is not booked at all, and he does not have any single masteries. Now, the key here is going to be, I'm going to briefly run down what his skills do, but I'm going to show you how you can build this champion, and I'm going to try my best to use only 5-star gear. I did do some pre-sorting to make sure I had a decent amount of 5-star gear available to gear this guy, to make sure you guys understand what you would need to get through all of the dungeon progression, faction wars, so on and so forth, even campaign progression in the Nightmare campaign, while keeping a champion like this with his specific skill set and applying it to anyone on your account by not 6-starring him. So as we can see here, we have an A1 HP burn. Now, quickly going through his skills, his A1 is the only ability that actually deals damage. So what does that mean right off the bat? You don't have to build him with the 100% crit rate, which is something I rarely say. The fact that he's only offering your team a single hit damage dealing ability really lowers the value of that altogether and makes it so you don't really care how much damage he's actually doing. And also, HP burn debuff on one target with a very low chance of proccing for 2 turns isn't really enough to say, okay, I'm going to build this guy with accuracy, as this buff is going to be crucial to my progression. Moving on to the A2, we have an increased attack and a turn meter boost, which is awesome. And finally, the A3, a champion revive, placing that perfect veil buff for 2 turns and a turn meter fill. Alright guys, so all we're focused with the champion like this is going to be HP, defense, and speed. That's all we care about. Crit rate doesn't matter, like I said. Accuracy doesn't matter. Resistance, we don't care. So kind of going back to the video I made a while ago on, I believe it was called Every Player Must Know This or Must Watch This, something like that. I gave you the breakdown of how to gear a champion, starting with the banner, moving on to the more crucial pieces. So this is kind of going to be a similar guide on how to gear a champion. You're electing not to 6-star, but still making sure they survive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to search for a pair of boots. Let's go to our gear finder here, speed boots. These are the pair of boots I'm going to use, and all you really want to focus on is HP percent. I didn't have one with HP percent and defense percent that wasn't 6-star, so this is what we're going to go with for now. Now is where you have to decide. I want to make sure that I'm gearing them with more HP than defense. This is something that a lot of people, I'm not sure where this came from, but a lot of people overlook this fact, where they're stacking way too much defense, not enough HP, and they are getting destroyed in pretty much all content. So you do want a healthy mix of both, but there's way too emphasis at the moment based on defensive stats, especially for a champion that doesn't scale with defense as a damage dealing multiplier. So what we're going to do here is we're going to split our chest and gloves between HP percent and defense, and we can kind of search through here. Let's try to stick with speed, since we did say speed was going to be kind of a highlight in one of the 3 stats we are in fact looking for. Right off the bat, we don't have crazy options here. We're looking for as much HP and defense as possible. We do have defense percent on that piece there, and so I think we're gonna end up going with this one. This is going to be an HP percent chest piece. Now we're going to search for an HP glove with defense or defense glove with HP. Here's a decent mix of both. However, this defense is a little bit lower than we want, so let's try and search for a defense percent pair of gloves here. Alright, so as far as gloves go, I'm leaning towards this pair of gloves. We have defense percent, HP, accuracy, speed, and resistance. Not that we need those other stats, but they definitely do help in the end. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at our total stats here. Almost 32,000 HP, 18,000 defense, 141 speed. That's all we're going to really focus on here. So HP can use some more. Defense, we're rather close to where we want to be, and speed can definitely use an improvement. The first thing we're going to do is click on a weapon here and look for HP percent and speed and see what we can find. So quickly going through these pieces, it's going to be between this weapon, possibly this one, or this one. Let's try to go for the most speed we can get. So we have 15 compared to 14. Then we go to 15 plus 6% HP. No, 14 plus 6%, so 15 is going to win out overall here. We do get a bit of accuracy, so it does increase our chances slightly of getting that HP burn to land for any additional bonus, even though we're not looking for it. Now that we have that, we can shift our focus to the helmet as well as shield here. The helmet may be tricky to find. I'm not sure how many I do have available. Let's take off speed from the running and see if we can find any solid options here. As far as 5 stars go, we do have this helmet, solid HP percent, no roll on speed, and this one no speed at all. So that's pretty much going to guarantee we're taking this shield set helmet for additional health. And now all we have left is going to be the shield. We're going to get base defense from the shield, which is going to help, but we're also going to be looking for speed. And as far as the total health of this champion, we're now at 37.8 thousand, definitely a solid amount of health. So we can shift our focus a bit towards defense percent and speed. Alright, so with those base stats, we are looking for defense percent and speed on a shield, and the clear option is probably going to be this, regardless of what it has on it. So we have a little bit of speed, flat HP, defense percent, and accuracy. That's going to be a home run for what we're trying to do here. And just to give you an idea of what we're using for a ring, we have a defense ring with HP percent, and we have a flat HP necklace with 1 roll in defense, giving our total stats, having it look something like this: 38,000 health, 2.1 thousand defense, 181 speed. So this is an example of a champion you can use at 5-star as a reviver and really push you to the limit on what you can do in this game without 6-starring anybody. Now, based on what we see here, one thing you have to know is synergy matters a ton in this game. So quickly, based on looking at this champion, what's the one thing that would be the smartest thing to pair with a champion like this to make sure he can't survive even at level 50? The answer is going to be a strengthen buff or a increased defense buff to boost his defense to a little bit closer to 3000, making it a much more comfortable situation overall. Outside of an increased defense buff, if you can get an HP aura or a defense aura on your dungeon team, you're going to have a much better job. Even if you want to add a turn meter booster on top of him, someone like a Haikatun with the speed aura to make sure he's going enough times to make sure he has his revive up when he actually needs it. Although, to be honest, 181 speed is perfectly fine for pretty much all content you would be wanting to do. Hopefully by this point you guys have now realized that this is something you can do to your advantage. And now think of the resources I've saved. I saved 5 5-star chickens. I saved the potions I would need to ascend him a 6th time. I saved all of the gems or energy it would take to mastery this champion. Now, if you wanted to do a few runs with the masteries here, you can take something as simple as tough skin. You can get the increased health here as well. Maybe something like blast proof, or going all the way to the left here for improved parry, reducing the chance of getting crit. Although now that I think about it, you probably don't want to take this because the base chance of any PvE environment champions critting you, so PvE being faction wars, dungeons, so on and so forth, their crit chance is always going to be extremely low. So maybe this isn't the best option here. Something more like tough skin, rejuvenation, blast proof, steadfast, and then something as simple as exalt in death. That's definitely going to be enough to get you exactly what you want to do out of this champion, or you can just skip the masteries overall. Like I just showed you, I'm only using one matching gear set. None of this gear is really impressive for someone who's progressing all the way to the endgame environment, especially with a champion that's 5-star. So these are some of the things you can use to your advantage to actually boost yourself to that next level, doing it as efficiently as possible, not wasting any resources. Alright guys, that is going to conclude my video today on why you shouldn't be 6-starring every single champion you get just because you think it's going to help you out. Let me know what you think. Have any of you already been doing this? What champions? Give me your examples below. I'm curious to find out. What champions are you now going to not 6-star after seeing this to use this to your success? So definitely give me your feedback. I'm interested. I want to hear it. Do you disagree with me? Do you think it's more beneficial to 6-star everyone? I'm up to see anyone's opposing viewpoint as always. So don't forget guys, if you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you're notified when I upload my next video, and I will see you all in my next upload.